They say kids forget things easily. But there are certain kinds of silence you never forget. Like the silence of a 6-year-old waiting for a knock that never comes. Or the kind that falls when your child stops asking questions because they already know the answer. My name is Kelsey Monroe, and last Saturday was supposed to be magic. It was my daughter Aria's 6th birthday, and I had promised her this one would be special. Her last birthday had been swallowed by a messy divorce and the wreckage of the life we thought we had. But this year was going to be different. I was going to make it beautiful if it killed me. We chose a rainbow unicorn theme. Aria was obsessed. She had it all planned: pink and purple balloons, glittery paper crowns, marshmallow wands, and a chocolate cake shaped like a unicorn. I spent the whole week prepping. I barely slept the night before, staying up late icing cupcakes and inflating dollar store balloons until my fingers cramped. But none of it mattered more than the one thing Aria really wanted. "Mommy," she whispered as I tucked her in, "do you think Daddy will come this time?" I wanted to lie. I wanted to say absolutely, definitely, of course. But I'd been burned too many times. Instead, I said, "He said he would, baby. Let's see, okay?" Jason, my ex-husband, had promised. Again. He'd texted 3 days before. "Don't worry, I'll be there. Tell Aria I've got a surprise for her." He even asked what time to come. I told him. He said, "Got it." But Saturday came. The sun rose. The candles were placed. Kids filled the backyard with squeals and laughter. Aria waited at the gate in her unicorn tutu and glitter sneakers, holding a homemade sign that said, "Welcome, Daddy." And then nothing. No car pulling up. No footsteps. No knock on the door. No Daddy. At first, I made excuses. Maybe traffic. Maybe he had to pick up something for the surprise. Maybe, God forbid, he'd gotten into an accident. "Let's start the games," I said with a cheerful voice I barely recognized. "He'll be here soon." But soon turned into an hour. Then 2. And when it was time to sing "Happy Birthday," Aria looked at the front gate one last time, just in case. Then she turned around, took a deep breath, and blew out the candles herself. She didn't cry. That's what wrecked me. She just said, "Can I have cake now?" Later that night, after everyone had left, after the balloons had started drooping and the frosting on the plates had dried, I sat on the kitchen floor while Aria watched her new unicorn movie on the couch. And then my phone buzzed. "Jason." "Sorry." "Lost track of time. Tell Aria happy birthday for me. We'll make it up to her. XO." Lost track of time? I stared at that message like it had fangs. Because I'd already seen his Instagram story. Jason wasn't at home. He wasn't stuck in traffic. He was on a yacht in Cabo with his new girlfriend. Her name is Sky. She's 23, blonde, always sipping something sparkly. In the video, she kissed his cheek as he toasted the camera with champagne and said, "Finally free." Free from what, Jason? Your daughter's birthday? I cleaned up the party alone, humming fake tunes so Aria wouldn't hear the trembling in my breath. When I tucked her in, she asked, "Did Daddy text you?" I nodded. "Did he say happy birthday?" "He did." She smiled a little, then rolled over. But the thing is, 6-year-olds don't forget as easily as we think. They don't cry because they don't know how to name the pain. But it stays. It roots itself inside them. Quiet. Invisible. And as I watched my daughter fall asleep without a single gift or call from her father, something cracked inside me. This wasn't the first time Jason had let her down. Not the first missed recital. Not the first forgotten weekend. But this? Her birthday? No more. He had walked out on me. Fine. I had survived that. But I would not let him walk in and out of her life like a revolving door, picking moments when it was convenient and vanishing when it wasn't. He didn't just skip a party. He skipped a memory she will carry for the rest of her life. And if he thought he could go on pretending to be a part-time parent while building a shiny Instagram life with someone barely out of college, he was about to learn something. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to do what he never had the patience or discipline to do. I was going to fight for Aria the way he never did. And this time, he'd remember her birthday for the rest of his life. You ever feel your heartbeat slow not from peace, but from a kind of cold, measured fury? That was me the next morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at Jason's message again. Lost track of time. He didn't even say her name. Not Arya. Not our daughter. Just a brush off like he'd missed a dentist appointment. Meanwhile, Arya was humming at the sink, brushing her teeth with a new unicorn toothbrush someone brought to the party. She still hadn't said anything more about her dad. That silence? It was heavy. It meant she was already shrinking her expectations. And that shattered me. Jason wasn't always like this. Back when we met in college, he was charming, driven, funny. He loved kids, or so he said. He even cried when Arya was born. But somewhere along the line, around the time he got his promotion and I stopped wearing mascara every day, he changed. The compliments turned into criticisms. The patience wore thin. And then came the affair. When I caught him, he told me, "Sky just makes me feel young again." I told him, "Then maybe she can help you raise your daughter." He moved out 2 weeks later. But even after the divorce, Jason kept pretending to the world that he was a devoted father. Posted throwback photos of Arya with captions like "my whole heart" and #GirlDad every few weeks like a PR campaign. The truth? Since the divorce, he'd canceled on her more times than he'd shown up. One time he said he had a client dinner, only for Arya to see him tagged at a Lakers game. Another time he promised to help with her school project, then went off-grid for 3 days. And yet, he'd still filed for joint custody. Not because he wanted time with Arya, but because joint custody meant no child support. I'd heard him on the phone once, loud enough through the wall, saying to a friend, "Kelsey's just milking me. If I get 50-50, I don't owe her a dime." That's when I started documenting everything. Every missed visit, every canceled call, every message, every receipt, every tagged photo that contradicted his excuses. I didn't want to play dirty. I wanted to co-parent like adults. But Jason didn't want to co-parent. He wanted control. And this time, he handed me the ammunition himself. I opened his Instagram. There they were. 3 videos. All posted during Arya's birthday party. Jason, shirtless on a yacht, laughing as Sky sprayed him with champagne. Jason clinking glasses. To freedom. Jason grinning at the camera. Miss anything? Not really. He'd tagged the location, Cabo San Lucas. The timestamp was 2:03 p.m. At 2:03 p.m., Arya was cutting her cake and whispering her wish. I took screenshots. Then I opened my cloud storage and found the video I took at the party. Arya sitting on the steps, holding her "Welcome Daddy" sign, still believing he'd come. And suddenly the plan started to form. Not rage. Not revenge for me. But protection for Arya. If Jason wanted to lie in court, to play the doting dad and paint me as uncooperative, I was going to peel that mask right off, with facts, with timestamps, and with the one thing judges never ignore. A heartbroken child caught in the crossfire. I called my lawyer, Melanie Gates, that afternoon. She's sharp, relentless, and most importantly, a mom of 3. She didn't even let me finish explaining. "This is emotional neglect," she said. "And it's documented. We file for sole custody." My heart pounded. I'd never gone that far before. I'd always tried to keep the peace. I'd believed the lie that keeping Arya's father in her life, even a half-interested version, was better than nothing. But what if nothing was safer? Melanie gave me a list. Compile the timeline of all missed visits. Gather communications. Print the screenshots and videos. Get a counselor's note if possible. I'll draft the emergency motion, she said. We'll let the court decide what kind of father skips his child's birthday to party in Mexico. Then she paused. Oh, and we'll notify his attorney after we file. We don't give him time to clean it up. I hung up, stared out the window, and let myself cry for 5 full minutes. Not for me, but for Arya, because this was the last time I'd let her wonder if she was enough. But that's not where it ended. Because the next morning, Jason posted a smug little photo of himself at a tech conference, keynote speaker. The theme? Fatherhood and work-life balance in the digital age. That was it. That was the spark. He wanted to build a brand as a father. Then I was going to make sure the truth went on the record, in court, and in his carefully curated world. Next up, making sure everyone saw who he really was. There's something surreal about watching a man lie in real time while the truth sits neatly organized in folders on your desktop. Jason's face popped up on the tech conference live stream that Thursday, his teeth dazzling, his tone rehearsed, every word dripping with charm. The topic? Fatherhood and work-life balance in the digital age. He had a gall to say, "My daughter's 6. Being present for her is the most important job I'll ever have." I was holding the video of Arya sitting alone on the porch while he clinked champagne with his girlfriend on a yacht. The timestamps weren't just receipts, they were evidence of neglect. Jason didn't know it yet, but his favorite props, his filtered photos, his empty captions, his self-congratulatory speeches, were about to collapse under the weight of real life. And I wasn't going to scream, accuse, or post a rage rant. I was going to let the truth speak. That night, after Arya went to sleep, I emailed my lawyer everything. A chronological list of every missed weekend, backed with texts, voicemails, and calendar entries. Screenshots of his Instagram stories from Cabo, posted during the party. A clip from Arya's birthday party, her eyes scanning the street, still hopeful. A voice note from Arya recorded the next morning whispering, "Maybe Daddy's plane got lost." I attached one more thing. A screen recording of his conference speech. The part where he said, "You can't outsource fatherhood." I labeled the file. Irony, Davi. Melanie called the next morning. "We filed today," she said. "Emergency custody hearing. And Kelsey, this is airtight." I felt my hands tremble. Not from fear. From relief. Because this time, I wasn't powerless. This time, I was fighting smart. That afternoon, the paperwork was filed. Jason was served at his company's office, right in front of the team he'd been bragging to about his perfect co-parenting setup. The message was clear. You don't get to be a part-time dad with full-time credit. But the legal route was only the beginning. Because Jason didn't just lie to me. He lied to everyone, friends, co-workers, even his own parents. They all thought he was trying so hard. That I was the bitter ex. That Arya's distance was just me poisoning her. So I made one final move. I created a private link and sent it to only 7 people. His mother, who once asked why I kept Arya away on Father's Day. His older brother, who said Jason was doing his best. The HR rep at his company, where he was slated for promotion. The nonprofit who'd invited him to keynote Dads Who Lead. 2 mutual friends who had dropped me after the divorce. And his girlfriend, Sky, because she deserved to know who she was with. The link contained a single 2-minute video. Split screen. Left side, Arya, sitting on the porch in her glitter tutu, holding a "Welcome Daddy" sign. Right side, Jason on a yacht, champagne raised, Sky laughing beside him. At the end of the video, text appeared. "This is what present looks like. Actions speak louder than captions." I didn't add commentary. No hashtags. No venom. Just facts. Just clarity. And then I logged out. By the next morning, Jason called me 4 times. I didn't answer. Then came the email. "Kelsey, can we talk? Please don't take this out of context. I messed up, I admit it. Don't do this. Think about how this affects Arya." That line, "Think about how this affects Arya," was the final slap in the face. He hadn't thought about how missing her birthday affected her. He hadn't thought about how skipping visits made her cry into her pillow. Now he was only scared because the truth had teeth. A week later, we stood in family court. Jason's attorney tried to paint it all as a misunderstanding, a last-minute business trip, miscommunication. Parenting is hard on both sides. But Melanie was ready. She handed the judge the file with a calm smile. When the judge watched the video, he didn't say much. He simply turned to Jason and asked, "Do you consider this active parenting?" Jason went pale. The ruling came down fast. Full physical custody to me. Supervised visitation until Jason completed a parenting course. Mandatory counseling for Arya and Jason. When we walked out of court, he tried to catch up to me in the hallway. "I made a mistake," he muttered. "You didn't have to go nuclear." I turned to him, Quiet, calm, certain. You didn't forget a birthday, Jason. You abandoned your daughter's trust. That's not nuclear. That's just the truth.
But the twist?
That nonprofit he was supposed to speak for? They replaced him with a single dad who'd raised twins while working night shifts. The HR promotion? On hold, pending review. And Sky? She posted a TikTok 2 days later. I didn't sign up to be a stepmom to a little girl who gets ignored on her birthday. Guess the vacation glow wore off. There's a moment every mother dreads, when your child starts expecting less. Not because she's maturing, but because she's protecting herself. That's what Arya did in the weeks after her birthday. She didn't talk about her dad. She didn't ask when she'd see him again. She just adjusted. 6 years old, and already learning how to swallow disappointment. It broke my heart, but I didn't try to fix it with fake promises. I didn't say, Daddy's just busy. I said, I know it hurt when he didn't come, but you never have to wonder if I'll show up. I meant it, and I meant to prove it. Jason, meanwhile, kept trying to save face. He sent gifts, designer shoes, an iPad, a drone, seriously. All returned. I didn't need him buying back her affection like a PR stunt. The court order stood. Supervised visits, weekly counseling, no social media posts of Arya. He showed up once, to the counseling session late, wearing sunglasses, chewing gum like a teenager. Arya sat on my lap the whole time. She barely looked at him. It wasn't rage. It wasn't rebellion. It was detachment. Jason didn't lose Arya because of a bad week. He lost her because she finally realized what consistency looks like and what it doesn't. A month later, I took Arya to the beach just as two. She collected shells, made a crown from seaweed, and ran back to me with a pink stone in her fist. This one's for you, she said, because you always come back. I almost cried right there in the sand. That night, after she fell asleep in the car, I sat in the driveway for a while, just breathing. It wasn't victory I felt. It wasn't revenge. It was relief. That my daughter would grow up knowing that love doesn't disappear when it's inconvenient. That presence isn't performance. That you don't have to chase people who only show up when it benefits them. Still, I didn't want her birthday to remain a painful memory. So I started planning something small. Not a do-over. Not an apology party. Something just for us. I reached out to the local animal rescue, where she'd always wanted to visit, and asked if we could do a private puppy day for Arya. They said yes. I called her school and arranged for a surprise. Her favorite teacher would read a book Arya had written and illustrated herself, about a magical girl who finds a new kind of family in the woods. I asked her 3 best friends over for cupcakes and backyard camping. No glitter signs. No expectations. Just joy. When the day came, Arya wore a t-shirt that said, Sunshine on purpose. She held baby goats, played vet with rescue puppies, and sang, You Are My Sunshine, to a blind dog named Daisy. And at night, under fairy lights and marshmallow fluff, she turned to me and said, Mommy, this birthday feels like a wish that came true. I smiled, brushing hair from her forehead. What did you wish for? I asked. She leaned close and whispered, that it wouldn't feel like he forgot me. Jason hasn't seen her in weeks. He sends the occasional email, all filtered through the court monitor.
Short.
Careful.
Polished.
He's still trying to fix his image. But I'm no longer part of that cleanup crew. Arya doesn't ask about him much anymore. And when she does, it's not with longing. It's curiosity, like remembering a character from a book she stopped reading. I've stopped hoping he'll change. That's not my job. My job is to raise a daughter who knows her value, who doesn't beg for love, who understands that some absences aren't losses, they're clarity. And me? I'm doing okay. Better than okay. I've started writing again, something I gave up when I was busy being a wife and emotional manager. Turns out, telling the truth can be its own kind of therapy. I don't hate Jason. I don't even think about Sky. What I think about is peace. And the kind of woman I'm modeling for Arya. Because one day, she'll grow up and choose who to trust, who to let in, who deserves to stay. And she'll remember. Her mom never begged someone to be a father. Her mom became everything she needed instead. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Your support means everything. If this story touched you or made you think, please subscribe to our channel for more real, powerful stories.